Obviously, I don't have the stat sheet in front of me, but obviously, we all saw the issues tonight. It's been something we've been talking about. We got to get it fixed. Turnovers killed us. Every time we got something going, momentum-wise, offensively, it seems like we put the ball on the ground. I thought our defense, we started slow as a team, but I thought our defense kind of settled in as the game went on, and they made some big stops, really made it difficult on the opposing team to move the ball. And every time we kind of get something going on offense, we put ourselves behind the eight ball. I did appreciate, and I think we got a chance to see the guys fight. Came right down to the end, inches on the onside kick there. But when you put yourself that far behind, it's going to be difficult to be successful. So we got to get better. We got to get it cleaned up. We got here as a team, so we got to fix it as a team.
Coach, how do you clean up those turnovers? I know it was raining pretty hard there, and the ball was wet, but I'm sure that's not an excuse that you'll go to. Just what do you do to clean that up? There were so many tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we got to look at who's playing. If this is becoming a recurring issue. I mean, we got good players who can't hold on to the ball. So we got to make some decisions as coaches and as a team to play the guys that can hold on to the ball, and they may not be our best players. So we got to find other ways to move the ball. And then I think everybody's got to take a hard look at, everything we do in practice. Is it important to you? Is it important for me to hold on to the ball? I got to know when to try and get an extra yard. I got to know when to keep the ball vertical. And that's what you got to do. Ultimately, you got to play the guys that can hold on to the football. A guy can be Barry Sanders, but if he can't hold on to the football, it's going to be difficult for the team to be successful.
Thoughts on Grant tonight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the weather kind of limited some of his, throwing there kind of in the middle, second to third quarter. I thought, he drove us back down the field, gave us a chance there at the end. Obviously, we got to continue to minimize, the interceptions. That's just something that obviously when you're in a situation where you have to throw it, defensively, they play a little bit different coverage. So you got to be smart with it. You got to know when to check it down. You got to know when to run. Minus a few handful of plays, I thought he moved as well. Obviously, I thought he kind of got negated as a thrower, in the middle there with the weather. But again, when things don't go well, everyone's got to raise their level. So we got to be better.
Coach, you guys dropped your third straight game. The margin of defeat for 3 games has been 11 points. How close are you guys to kind of getting over the hump and winning some of these ball games that end up being close?
Yeah, I think you guys see it. I mean, we're close, but that's what we are. We are a good football team that has to understand that execution and consistency and execution is the key. When you're playing these types of games against really good opponents, the margin for error is very small. I believe we're in these games because we are a good football team. I don't know what happened last year, but, it's kind of the same thing. We get to a point where we got to find a way to push through. I think we're close. I say it all the time. I know it's not, not the answer, but it's a process. It's not a switch. We got to continue to work through the things that are costing us games. I think we made a stride today defensively. We shored up some things. We still missed a few tackles. I don't think it was as many as last week, but we shored up some things defensively. Some guys did some really good things. I think Jamari and Nas kind of showed up today, which, they're starting to get more and more comfortable with the defense. But again, it's hard to be an explosive offense if you don't have the ball or if you give it back to them after, a few plays. So, I think when you look at what we did, moving the ball offensively, we moved it pretty good. Barring, turning it over. It seemed like every time we got a good run, a good play, was followed up by a turnover. So we got to get it cleaned up. We all got to be better, coaches, players, everybody in the organization's got to find a way to keep closing the gap.
Coach, you mentioned Jamari and Nas as guys who had pretty good games tonight. Just what have they done over the last few weeks that kind of built to this? You mentioned them kind of starting to get a feel for the defense now.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're learning a new defense, I think it takes time. I know last year defensively, these guys were really good. There's 3 guys that moved on and are playing in the NFL or had an opportunity to play in the NFL. Those guys were good players. So learning a new defense, learning how you fit, learning the adjustments, learning how to fit the runs, it takes time. And obviously, we would like to expedite the process. But again, every week you're fitting it against a different defense. We talked about it, way back in the beginning. 2 weeks we kind of focused on Navy. Now we're kind of starting all over again, kind of getting back on the page. Is that an excuse? No, that's just the understanding of the process. I think you're starting to see a little bit of consistency in our defense. I think you're starting to see a little bit of consistency, from the players being able to make plays. I would have loved to see what would happen if we don't turn the ball over tonight.
On the broadcast, they mentioned Brandon Drayton out tonight, and Talik Keaton, they said, had a broken hand, might be out a couple of weeks. Is there any update on those guys you can give us?
We'd have to get back and see. Drayton's been hampered with an injury. We're trying to get him back. We want to protect him and make sure he's healthy. Talik, hopefully, we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the turnovers tonight, but not only those, some dropped passes and key moments. Does that go back to the guys on the field because they can hold on to the ball?
I think it goes back to execution. I mean, it's everybody's got a job to do. When the ball's thrown to you, you got to catch it, you got to put it away, you got to protect it. If you're the O lineman, you got to protect your guys, you got to block the runs, block the passes. It's all execution. It's magnified. Are you going to go a game with 0 drops? Probably not. But it's magnified when every play is like we have to have this play because we were struggling to move the ball. Or we're kind of stubbing our toe with turnovers. But it goes all together. We all got to be better. We can't drop passes, not the ones that are thrown right to us. We can't turn the ball over. We can't throw interceptions. Can't give up sacks. All those things are execution. Now, are some of those things going to happen? Yeah, but in the amount that it happened tonight, it would be very difficult to beat any team in the country, high school all the way up to the NFL.
Coach, talk about the onside kick. I believe it's the second time in a close game you guys have had troubles on the onside kick late in the ball game. Is that something you guys address in practice this week?
Troubles on the onside kick. What are you talking about?
Yeah, one against ECU.
That was the hands team. That's the other side. Yeah, I mean, that's totally 2 different sides. It's like kickoff and kickoff return. Obviously, on the onsides there, we felt we had a good opportunity. I haven't seen the clip. They told me they reviewed it. Said he caught the ball or touched the ball at the 9.5 whatever mark. The onside of ECU is a total another world. So that's not even. It's like offense and defense. They're not even on the same page. But to answer your question,
No, you're good.
Yes, we work on all of those things every Thursday.
And Coach, you talked about emotional conditioning earlier this week. You said the guys need to improve on that. They seem to kind of get it back up in the fourth quarter. How'd you guys adjust that after that big Blankenship fumble touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, we just told them to keep fighting. We got here as a team. We were going to fix it as a team. So the defense just kept fighting. I thought they did a phenomenal job of when they had an opportunity to put their hand down, of coming out and coming up with stops to give the offense a chance. Started slow in the beginning for whatever reason. We got to be better. You can't play in this league against really good teams and expect to come out and kind of just start slow. And you can't expect to have the amount of issues, self-imposed issues that we had tonight and expect to be successful. I think we did see, a team that fought to the end and gave us an opportunity there at the end to come up with the onside kick.
Anything else?
I believe that's it.
That's good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys covering us. Go Herd.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Safe travels.